Hey there, welcome to another of Thorn's magical musical podcast vlogs. Um, Whenever I'm not on camera and it's the middle of the night, I'm like, oh, I could tell them about this and this and this, and I have to remember that, and I'm full of ideas, but now when I'm sitting here, I'm just like, anxiety? Not because of y'all, just like anxiety in general. Um, so yeah. Anyway, today I printed out a few more songs I want to go through with you. They're some of my older songs, and I think the theme today will be songs that I wrote mostly during my Wiccan days when I knew Gwyn, my patron god, as the Horned God. I didn't know that he also went by the name Gwyn. That might not be true for every instance of the Horned God, just for me it was true. And so they're written with the Wiccan theological framework in mind. So you have the Horned God and the goddess, who has three parts: maiden, mother, crone. And the goddess doesn't show up too much in my songs. I was mostly just up close and personal with the Horned God. Very close and personal, as you'll see. But through this time, he was helping me really work through my trauma and like gender identity type of things, and just making sense of all of that. So one of the songs I want to show you is a song I wrote after my voice started to drop on T, and just wrote a song about how it just felt nicer to be to have a lower voice, and the Horned God showed up as this fairy king. For those who don't know, my patron god Gwyn ap Nudd is, among other things, the Welsh fairy king. So at the time I was like, that's weird. He just shows up as the fairy king sometimes. Okay, that's not in Wiccan theology, but I'm not going to argue with what I'm actually experiencing from the gods. so and he asked me to be his bard, and I was like, oh cool, I get to sing with my new voice for this mysterious king. So then another song, I was given this vision where I got to just be a normal trans teenager with my gods as sort of a grandmother and grandson. It was the crone goddess and the young Horned God, just being the ones that were taking care of me, and just it was just so nice having a normal life in that vision. So yeah, I'm thinking about which one to start with. Let's start with that one, actually. Then I'll tell you some lore about it afterwards. It's called In My Grandmother's House. As you can see, printing songs out the way I do gets unwieldy, so I bought some paper clips and binder clips, which are right there off camera. So I'll probably, if not during this time, then afterward I'll probably clip things so I can not have papers everywhere. Why are these two pages stuck together? Thank you. I was worried that this one is too low. I've been having to play around a lot with how my voice is right now, because when I'm, at least last I knew, when I'm singing a lot kind of under the, if not with a personal teacher, then with like a choir director or someone who can help kind of guide me, then I can go pretty high for a tenor. But right now I'm finding that I just can't support that. Like my voice doesn't really want to make a sound up there, and I'd rather switch my songs to a lower register and maybe like play around with modulation to make them sound good instead of trying to force it. But then on the lower end, there are notes that I can hit, but they're not very loud. So I have like about an octave to work with, and the upper part of that octave is my break, which is also just, I feel like I need some actual guidance at some point on how to deal with my break, because I mean, there's being trans, but also there's just like, I'm sure that singers, like cis male singers, would have to deal with the same thing of having a really substantial break in their voice. So I started singing as an adult before I took T, so I'm not really used to that. Well, started singing choral and like being formally trained. I sang a lot as a kid, but I wasn't really trained. Anyway, so I tried to switch this. I had already changed this from G minor down to E minor. Then I was like, okay, that's a bit low. Maybe I should change it up to F minor. And I did that, and then I tried to play that just to make sure that I had all the notes, all of the chord changes right before I printed it out. And I hated it. Like, my muscle memory is for E minor at this point, which is similar enough to G minor that it wasn't too hard to switch. But F minor has a lot more sharps and flats, so I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to deal with some of the notes being a bit low. It's fine. So, yeah. Here we are. Was I just below the ocean in the mermaid's iridescence? Here below her spiral staircase, there's a house I've never seen. Will you drink this sea salt potion? I can't see her tread both crescents, and the rain with sin. So yeah, there's kind of a tension in that song between the trauma that I remember from my actual life and then this really nice vision where I'm just a gay trans teenage boy, and I've always been close to the horned god and then later Gwyn in certain ways. So like in the vision we were like, he was my boyfriend, and he's actually the one speaking in the chorus, at least the first couple lines, telling me that in his grandmother's house, it's a safe place, and he speaks several times in the song where he's like, don't worry about what actually happened, like it's okay to just like enjoy this moment. And he's actually also in the song in a different capacity as the abyssal mer king, who is kind of out there in the cold ocean that represents my trauma. And it's not that he is the trauma, just like he's kind of giving it a voice or a way to express itself, but he's also there. Like, it's like, even there I'm not separated from my god, kind of thing. And the chorus, during the vision, I like, it was so vivid. I was in this attic room that was his bed, the bedroom, and there was this woven straw chair that he was sitting on, and at one point I was also sitting on it, and straw chairs kind of creak loudly. You can imagine why it was creaking. A lot of movement going on. So the reason why I mentioned that in the chorus is because my only concern in the vision wasn't like safety or being free to be who I was. Like, it was just like, what if his grandmother, who's fully supportive of us, hears us and comes up and like calls through the door to make sure that we're being safe. Like, I'm sure that would be really embarrassing for a teenager, but it was so nice having that as the only worry in the vision. Just like someone who's supportive might say something helpful but embarrassing. So you sort of, it's obviously, like, I'm very discreet in the song, but like you kind of get pointed in that direction by the words like, I feel shamelessly gay in your arms, like we're being gay together. So yeah. That also, as someone who loves yarn, I realized last night I think I know what type of yarn I was seeing with his fuzzy sweater. It was a really nice brown sweater, like just a warm, dark brown, and I think it must have been mohair, because it was like that really soft, fuzzy yarn. So yeah, it was like very much not my own aesthetic, but it looked so good on him, so that's one reason I remember it. So yeah, let's have the other similar one, which I mentioned before. This song is about when my voice started to drop, and I actually didn't have to change anything. Like, it seems to still fit. No, actually I did. I had to rewrite a couple of lines that were really low before. And I realized, like, when I wrote this song, the point of doing those really low lines to kind of end things was that I think I wanted to show the calm of just like calming down and not feeling as anxious as I often did at the time, and still do, but right now I feel like it's important for those lines to kind of sing out, so I've moved them up my mid range. I already printed that one out, so it's somewhere in here. It's called Impossible Boy, which I think was vaguely a reference to Doctor Who, like one of the River Song arcs. But it's also just about the fact that I was never this. It's like I have this inner trans boy who was never present in the outside world, so he's kind of impossible. And there's some wordplay in this one, so I'll also tell you about that afterward. Actually, it's the line I'm thinking of is really quick. So there's one part where he says, "She of future, she of past," and those two words are spelled differently. She like fairy of future, because I'm going forward. I'm with the horn god who's currently a fairy king in this song. And then she of past, like the pronoun, because I'm no longer a girl. So, yeah. Changeling prince, come be my bride, delight me with your star song. Leave her behind that mortal bruise, the glamour of your music. For I'm the king who listens when your shadow, when you The first song I wrote after knowing who Gwyn was starts kind of in the same setting I was imagining at the end, this little witch cottage with pumpkins and the moonlight, and I find myself there with Granny, who turned out to be Caradwyn. I didn't know that at the time, but she kind of reassures me that don't worry, he'll be here, and then he shows up, and I know who he is. So yeah. It's nice having written so many songs because I've kind of developed a symbolic language and things that I can refer back to in a new song. So like there's lore about my life and my spiritual path in here. Also, the last bit that goes, and it feels like fire or despair or ice, always makes me a bit uncomfortable, and I think the reason is because it was written about a very uncomfortable thing. I was thinking about the way that my ex made me feel when they would do things that were really scary. I'll just leave it at that. And my anxiety would be so high because of what they were doing, but I didn't really know if I was allowed to like blame them and say, hey, you shouldn't do that, or like I kind of knew that they wouldn't listen and it would just probably go badly if I tried to tell them not to do it. But I didn't yet know that means they're abusive. But I was reaching out to my gods for help finding strength in that situation, so I think that's a nice takeaway from that. My voice is getting a bit hoarse, but we're going to try one more song. This was written about experiences I had with, again, with the horned god, but the setting is mainly, at least it starts as me sitting in the choir of the Episcopal church I used to go to, and they all knew that I was pagan and they were fine with that, but like still it was just like I was the only one there. Like I kind of made the most of, since I wanted to have community and do sacred rites, I joined in. Like I would take communion, and the rector was fine with that. So shout out to him. But I just have my own kind of mental twist on it. Like I'd be with one of my gods, and I mean that's, I know that Christianity tends to be a very orthodoxic religion, meaning theology is important, but a lot of other religions, including many strands of paganism, are orthopraxic, so like what you do is more focused on and not so much what you personally believe, although I mean it is really nice to talk to other people who share a similar experience of the gods and like mystical things, but I mean I love talking to people of all faiths who have like that mystical leaning. And but yeah, So this song used to have a really high chorus. It was just this. And it sounded really ethereal. Let me see if I can play that. I'll play the last bit before the chorus and then the chorus. Actually, I need to have the chords in front of me, so I'll just we'll see how it goes. That was how the change from the verse to the chorus went. But my my voice just doesn't go there right now. So instead, I've changed it to where we stay on A. So I feel like that still works. It's basically a switch from G minor to D minor instead of G staying in G minor. So let me go ahead and show you this song. One thing I love is how vividly my image of the horned god came through this, and like how gender fluid he looked, or like gender non-conforming. So yeah, this one's called Spring's Heart, like the season spring, parentheses, a love story. In the green translucence, it was swishing round his ankles like a dryad's gown. The winged dress is flower crown. When I took communion, just the choir secret pagan, deep and low and sweet, and There's my water bottle. I just realized on the last bit I didn't change the low and all my grief and all my rhyme, like that melody. It goes way lower than I can actually sing, so I'm gonna have to change the melody since I moved the chorus down. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed that. A lot of this is about dealing with my trauma and just like the fact that I was realizing that I actually like dissociated a lot during that time. So that's one. That's what it means when I'm asking him, should I stay where it's real? Will you let me float away? But then the next line kind of makes me cry because I feel like I've seen the sprouting of that seed. Like, can I bury what I feel and plant a seed to sprout someday? I feel like I've seen I've kind of achieved the life that I couldn't have dreamed of back then, and I'm still working on achieving more of it. But yeah. Also, there is a lot of like secret reference to Welcome to Night Vale, the podcast, because I was really into it at the time of writing this, and it's kind of lost in the song, but the reason why I laughed when he said "I'm the wheat" is because he was referencing so I was thinking about the fact that the communion wafer was made of wheat, and for me the horned god is like kind of the life cycle of the grain, and he was referencing the fact that like there's this one episode in Welcome to Night Vale where they have to ban wheat and wheat byproducts for reasons, and so that's where that came from. And the bit with the caverns and the mud is also a reference. There's an arc where people turn into strangers, and the experience of the people who are being turned into strangers, like on the inside they're like walking, they're in a place where they're walking through this dark cavern filled with mud, and so I felt like that was a really useful symbol for how I felt a lot of times. And then at one point, the caverns start to glow in this song, and the mud stops pulling me down, even though it's still there. And then I ask him where we're going, and he just says, I don't know. But he just seems really happy and like chill about it. So it's just like a fun thing to explore with him. Like growing up Christian, I still have this where I kind of expect my gods to just know everything. And I realize they don't necessarily, but I mean, they do know a lot more than I do, but sometimes they're just like, it's like that fun older family member who's like, well, I don't know the answer to that question, but let's go find out. So, yeah. Oh, there's just throwback to last week when I was showing you all of the Madoka themed songs. Not all of them, but like some of them. There is a small reference to that fandom here. When I say I witch in grief or I witch in rhyme, like I'm using witch as a verb because obviously spoilers for Madoka, but when they turn into witches, like one thing that the fandom started calling that is witch out. So like, oh, so and so witched out. She turned into a witch. So like since I do identify as a witch, as a like a spiritual path, but also I'm a fan of that show. It just felt like a really useful like double symbol, where I've always felt like that moment of like turning into a witch and falling into despair kind of it really fit what I'm trying to avoid and also how I feel sometimes. So also the I witch in grief. Like, I don't know if this is a translation thing or a fandom thing or if it's in the original show, but like we call the thing that fills up the soul gem grief, and then when it's full they turn into a witch. So like I witch in grief. It's kind of both. But yeah, another thing I love in this is the line when he says, "If you need to, you can cry. Between the alleluias, I'm a sacred lullaby." Like, he's there even in a Christian church where you wouldn't think any other deity would be hanging out there, but since I'm there, like I can still find him in that sacred space. And my favorite thing in this song is when it modulates at the end, when that's what it's called, when you change from one key to a different key. So in the original, I modulated from G minor up to A minor, which was even higher, and that's one reason why I just switched the whole chorus down, because I wanted to keep the modulation, just had to do it lower in my range. So, but it just sounds so cool, like we've reached another point of ascension or something. I don't think I actually want the right hand to go high. Okay. And I love the reference to mermaids there. Just randomly came in. You're there like mermaids when I drown. So yeah, I think since we're at 50 minutes, that's where I'm gonna leave it for now. Crossing out the note I made about the right hand going to a higher octave, because I don't really think it needs to, just the modulation is enough of a upwards motion. So anyway, have a good week.